Hi everyone and welcome back to FMR Station House. Now, a number of times we've been asked how we make these very simple security fences. So in this video we're going to let you know how. Let's get on with it. Here is everything we need for this security fence project. So first of all we're going to want some pliers, pair of cutters, pair of scissors, some garden wire, some jewellery making wire, and last of all the mesh itself. Now this stuff I bought from my local hardware store. It's a metal mesh that does for repairs for bodywork and things like that with fiberglass and filler. You can get it online. Just going to chuck in a picture of what this stuff is and what it's called. That's going to pop up on the screen about now. Okay, we're also going to want to use whatever scale figure. Now I'm doing this for Eli's 00 gauge, so I'm using a 00 gauge little man. He's going to be roughly what I want to be building the height of my fence of. So the first thing I do is kind of like line him up with the fence, and I just want his hat to go over the top, so I'm going to want about here. Get the scissors. This stuff cuts very easily with scissors. Now we just cut a nice line all the way along. So now the wire's cut out, let's pop that somewhere safe. Yeah, just like so, your little gauge figure. Just like so. The next part is I've created a jig for this. Now I've popped in on this bit of wood all of these holes that are roughly in 00 gauge 8 foot apart. So again, a little bit taller than my chappy, roughly about 8 foot apart. So that's going to be, each post is going to go in each one of those holes, and my fence is going to sit in like so. But how we make the poles is out of this garden wire. So this is where the snippers come in. Let's snip some off and pop that down a minute. So we get our wire and we're going to snip it to roughly about, I want to say about, what, 00 gauge, around about 10 foot. Like so. Again, on my jig I have got a line that runs across the top there, and it kind of like shows me that I want my fence in here and my little bit at the bottom to go into the baseboard, and the top bit to be used for barbed wire fencing. So what I'll do now is I will make myself about 9 of these strips, so they're all ready to place in to my little jig, like that. Now my posts are in, as you can see. This is what makes the jig very handy. Is all it is just drilled in holes 8 foot apart in 00 gauge, and they will hold your posts. The next stage is, what we do here is, let's see if I can get this on its side to show better. Right, is I get one of the holes in this fence and I pop it in like so, and I twist forwards and let it run up to the top and drop it in like so. And then that is now in your first post. We've got to do that all the way through all of these. So the first post is in. So I take this one out. I line this up like so. Pop it in here. And then going to want it in this one here. So pop it in, twist forwards, drop down to the one that I've already bent out. And then stab it back into a hole. It can be a bit tricky, but patience is your best friend in this. And then you can see here I've got them done. So I'm going to do the rest of them and then come back to it. Okay, now all of them are in place like so, and if we put our 00 gauge man next to it like so, he's like there. Now what we're going to do here is the security fence part where the barbed wire is going to go along. They need to bend these outwards, so that's where we use the pliers. Now all I do is pinch just above where the fence is and bend it out slightly, and this is all done by eye. I decide whether the distance, the bend looks right, and once I've done one like so, I will now follow suit all the way along. So once again, let's get my pliers and twist until it looks about right. Now at this stage it's a good idea to get yourself a bit of super glue. You don't want to use too much, so what I usually generally do is pop a bit on some card, use an end of a barbecue skewer and just put some glue up at the top joint where the metal mesh has been threaded into the garden wire. Don't want to use too much because you don't want that congealed sort of look at the top. You just want enough that these two bits are going to just give it a little bit of support. You've got to remember you're using metal to metal, so I have found super glue to be the best choice. Okay, now that's all set and ready to go. At this stage I will now paint the metal. It's a very, very shiny sort of look to it, and I want to dull it down a bit. So I use a dull aluminium. Last bit I do before I take it out of the little jig I made. As you can see, this is why I made the jig. make lots of these for Eli's layout, it's easier just to work on them. I just get a light rust colour. And just put it in the areas. On the fence, just to give it that rusty sort of rainwatery sort of effect round. So we brought this up into Eli's room now, and we're going to continue the fencing along. So the bit that we've done, we shall bring it up and lay it down here, like so. So we've got ourselves a small drill piece, and we're now going to drill some holes where we want the fence to be placed. So I'll put the first two in. And now that the first two are in, as you can see, I'll go along and pop in the holes all the way along the bottom here for the fence to fit. So now that the fence is in place, I'm just going to dab some super glue along the bottom where the posts go into the baseboard, and that's just going to secure it in place now. So I'm going to get on and do that. And the next bit I'm going to do is some of these posts are a bit bigger, sticking out, so out come the snippers again, and I'm going to chop off the tops. With it. Next stage is to get the really thin jewellery wire that I mentioned and start pulling in the barbed wire. So we get a length and cut it. And we put a bit at the end, tighten that up, right? And then all we do, we get the wire and we rest it over, swing it back, and then bring it all the way down along the fence. So, like so. Twist over. Now, I don't know how well this is picking up on the camera, but let's see. Alright. So what I'm doing is just getting it to the post and twisting it over. It's as simple as that. And then we'll do it one more time for the top wire. So right at the end here, we tie it onto the post that we start with. And we work along the fence at the top height. Once again, just working it nice and slowly with a bit of patience. So this last bit, now that I've got the wire in and the fence in and it's all attached to the baseboard, is this bit here. You can see this gap. Now, what I like to do, again, is get the beading wire, the jewellery beading wire, cut a bit off and attempt to stitch the fencing together. It can be a bit tricky. As I have big fingers and thumbs. I do apologise, all you're really seeing at the present moment is my hand. But here we go. Let's stitch it together. Again, another fiddly bit. This is a fiddly project, but it saves a lot of money really. I've only spent, now the meshing cost me £3 a piece and it's almost the size of an A4 piece of paper. The beading wire that I'm using here, that only cost me £1. And the garden wire, which has a lot of it, cost me £5. So, you know, you can get a lot done for less than £8. Well, for around £8 you can get a lot done. I'm working on Eli's part of the layout that is equivalent, I think we said this is about 5 foot long. So 5 foot long of this fencing has cost me around £8. Right guys, as you can see, this part of Eli's layout now is slowly coming together quite nicely. The security fence that runs behind the terraced houses, and with a nice lane that we're going to make, redo some ballasting just along here so it goes up against the fence. A little bit of touching up with some paint here and there, but we're really happy, and this is just such a cost-effective way to do this. Like we said, we have managed to go from one sheet, this all the way along here, all the way down the back of the terraced houses, and just up to the corner there. We do have to do a bit more, but we will get there. Thanks guys for watching.